Hello there, it's John Smith. You're probably wondering, the Black Death. Well, let me tell you about it. They say that the air is our enemy. They tell us that God has looked down upon the fields of England and found us wanting. But look at the geography of death. If you walk from the village of Walsham to the gates of Benedictine Abbey, you'll see the bodies stacked like cordwood in the ditches. But the moment you cross that stone threshold, the air changes. It's sweet, it's cool, and the men inside are laughing. I'm not here to tell you to pray. I'm here to tell you that prayer is a distraction. While we're on our knees, they're in our pockets. Today, we're going to look at the 3 pillars of monastic monopoly. Number 1, the secret medicine. Number 2, the architecture of heat. And number 3, the Great Land Death of 1349. Let's talk about the scriptorium apothecary. You know John Gardiner, the man they call the Master of Gardens? He released a text recently, The Feat of Gardening. On the surface, it's about beans and onions, but look at the shipments coming into the docks at Bristol. They aren't bringing in food, they're bringing in boar or marnock. That red clay from the east, they tell us these are holy earths to be rubbed on the skin. No, they are binders. They are used in the creation of the great theriac. The monks have a monopoly on glass. Think about it. Have you ever seen a peasant with a glass window? No, but these monks have retards. Vessels that allow them to separate the soul of a plant from its body. They've discovered aqua vitae, the burning water. I've seen Brother Thomas behind the barn. He wasn't drinking ale, he was drinking a liquid clear as a diamond that smelled of sulphur and juniper. He hasn't coughed in 6 months, while the rest of his parish have been wiped out. They are using distilled spirits to cauterize their internal humours. While they tell us to carry a bunch of dried daisies, they're treating a wildfire like a bucket of water and keeping a fire eater for themselves. Now look at the abbey itself. Why is it built of stone while we live in mud and straw? They tell us it's for God's glory. I tell you it's for atmospheric control. That's the sky for anybody who's curious. Have you noticed the Cluny monks? They've started building cloisters. Why? Because they figured out how to trap the good air. They used the thermal mass of the stone to keep the temperature constant. They know the plague seed, which is what they call the miasma, can't thrive in stable, cooled stone. And look at the tonsure. They tell us that it represents the crown of thorns. But notice how they always stand in a circle when they chant. I've heard from a mason who worked at the walls at Durham. He says the shape of the chapel, the height of the vaulted ceiling, and the frequency of the Gregorian chants aren't for worship. They are for creating a vibrational shield. They discovered that the invisible vipers, the tiny spirits that carry the rot, they cannot settle in a room where the air is vibrating at a specific holy pitch. That's why the bells ring 20 times a day. It's not to honour the dead, it's to keep the vipers away from the abbey walls. They're using sound as a wall, and they aren't sharing the frequency with us. This video is sponsored by the Yeoman's Apothecary. Before we get into the Pope's secret tunnels, I need to talk to you about survival. The monks want you relying on their blessed oils, but those are just scented water. If you want to actually see 1350, you need Yeoman's Bastion Kit. Inside you'll find a true theriac. None of that watered down abbey swill. We're talking 40-year-old aged viper flesh and actual myrrh from the Levant. It also comes with a vial of the Four Thieves vinegar for your mask and a pouch of blessed charcoal to filter your well water. The sheriff doesn't want you owning this, the bishop wants it banned. But if you use code Peasant Revolt, I repeat, if you use Peasant Revolt at the local blacksmith's door, you will get a free sharpening stone for your tools. Stay protected, stay sovereign. Now back to the truth. Let's go to the top of the pyramid. Pope Clement VI. In his palace at the Avignon, he sits in a room with two massive hearths, one to his left, one to his right. His physician, Guy de Chauliac, is the most dangerous man in Europe. He's a man of science who wears a priest's robes. De Chauliac wrote a report for the Pope. He said, and I quote, "The plague is a result of the grand conjunction of Saturn, Jupiter and Mars." This is the astrology defense. If they can blame the stars, you can't blame the government. You can't sue a planet, and you can't revolt against a constellation. But while they tell us the stars are the cause, the Pope sits in a fire room. Why? Because the Chauliac found that the vermin of the air are destroyed by intense heat. They know the cure is fire, but they won't tell you to light your house on fire, will they? No, because they need your house standing so they can seize it when you're gone. Who benefits? In 1348, the church owned roughly 1/3 of the land in England. By 1350, after the Great Mortality, that number is projected to jump to half. Look at the mortuary fees. In my village, when old Peter died, the church didn't just take his soul, they took his second best beast. They took his finest copper pot, and they're hoarding the physical wealth of the peasantry as a tax for the afterlife, as they say. They are creating ghost acres. They are letting the small farms fail so they can enclose the land into a giant monastic estates. They want to replace the independent peasant with a contract labourer. They are passing the Statute of Labourers in Parliament as we speak. Basically, it will make it illegal for you to ask for higher wages, even though there are half as many of us left to do the work. The monks aren't our shepherds. They are accountants for our extinction. The next time you see a friar walking down the road, look at his sandals. If they're clean, he's been staying in the stone shield. Look at his hands. If they are stained with purple ink, he's been rewriting your family's land deed in the scriptorium. They think the Black Death is the end of our story. I think it's the beginning of a resistance. They can't hide behind their fires in Avignon. They can drink their aqua vitae in secret, but they still need us to plough the fields. And the plough can be a weapon if you know how to use it. Keep your shutters closed, keep your fires hot, and for the love of the saints, stop listening to the bells. They aren't ringing for you. Stay dirty, stay suspicious, the truth is in the dirt.